I was sitting in the lobby of a shiny glass office building, pretending to check my phone, when my brother walked in wearing the nicest suit I'd ever seen him in. He didn't see me at first. He was too busy fixing his tie in the reflection of the elevator doors, rehearsing the fake life he was about to sell inside that interview room. Under my hoodie, my hands were wrapped around a manila envelope stuffed with documents. Credit reports, loan statements, a police report, and a printed screenshot of the text where he'd basically confessed. When the receptionist called out, "Jacob Collins," and he stepped forward, I stood up too. He finally noticed me. His smile froze. The color drained from his face. "Mia," he hissed under his breath. "What are you doing here?" I held up the envelope. "Just making sure they know which social security number to run your background check on," I said quietly. "Yours, not mine this time. My name is Mia. I'm 23, and until last year, my credit score was the only thing in my life that was actually going according to plan. I grew up in a small town in Ohio with two parents who believed in second chances a little too much, and an older brother who used up all of them by the time he turned 20. Jake is 3 years older than me. As kids, he was the charming troublemaker. The one who borrowed money from Dad's wallet, got caught, cried, and somehow ended up with ice cream instead of grounding. I was the responsible one. On a roll, part-time job at 16, saving half my paycheck in a shoebox because we didn't have a bank branch near us. I did my homework without being told. I read the fine print on everything. Jake floated from one bad decision to another. He dropped out of community college after one semester because professors are idiots. He bought a used car with a predatory loan and stopped paying after 3 months. He got into sports betting and borrowed money from some guys you really shouldn't borrow from. Every time my parents bailed him out. "Family sticks together," Mom would say, writing another check. "He just needs time to figure things out." Meanwhile, any time I mention wanting help with tuition or maybe a used car to get to work, I'd get, "You're smart. You'll get scholarships. You'll be fine." Translation: Jake is the house fire we keep trying to put out. You're the smoke alarm we ignore until the batteries die. I told myself I didn't mind. I liked being the one they didn't have to worry about. I liked feeling like I had control over something, even if it was just my own little corner of life. So I made a plan. I'd work at the grocery store after school. I'd study hard, get into a state college with decent aid. I'd build credit slowly, a small starter credit card, paid off in full every month. Adult life, but on easy mode, at least financially. For a while it worked. At 21, I moved into a crappy but mine apartment with my best friend. I worked at a pharmacy tech job, took a few night classes, and checked my credit score like some girls checked Instagram likes. 732. Not bad for a kid whose brother had already been sent to collections twice. I really thought I'd outsmarted the chaos. Then Jake found a new way to drag me into it. The first sign was a letter. I'd just gotten home from a double shift when I saw it in the mail pile on the kitchen counter. My roommate had dropped everything there. It was from a bank I didn't recognize. "Congratulations on your new personal loan," it said in big cheerful letters on the envelope window. My stomach did a weird little flip. I hadn't applied for any loans. I opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a welcome packet for a $7,500 unsecured personal loan. In my name. There were my address, my social security's last 4 digits, an account number, an interest rate so ugly I felt nauseous just reading it. I grabbed my phone and logged into my credit monitoring app. New heart inquiry. New account opened last month. My heart started pounding. I scrolled further down and froze. There weren't just 1 or 2 unfamiliar accounts. There were 5. 2 personal loans from online lenders I'd never heard of. A store credit card from an electronics chain I'd never shopped at. A generic Visa card with a limit already maxed out. A buy now, pay later account tied to some sketchy website. Total combined debt under my name, about $18,000. Payment status: 30-60 days late on most of them. The room spun a little. I sat down hard on the couch and put my head between my knees. Identity theft. That was the first thought. Some hacker had gotten my info. Some stranger had gone on a spree. Except, every single account listed a contact phone number that looked familiar. Same area code as my hometown. Same first 3 digits as my parents' landline. And one of the lenders had my workplace listed as a warehouse I knew for a fact I had never stepped foot in. But Jake had. He'd worked there for 6 months last year. My hands started trembling. I pulled up my texts and scrolled back through my conversation with my mom, looking for something specific. There it was. A photo she'd sent me a year earlier of a stack of envelopes on the kitchen table. "Do you want us to keep your old tax stuff at the house?" she'd written. "I'm cleaning the file cabinet." "Yeah, that's fine," I'd replied without thinking. "I'll grab it at Christmas." My social security number, my old W-2s, copies of my ID, all sitting in a file cabinet, in the same house where Jake still crashed on the couch between jobs. Suddenly, identity theft didn't feel so anonymous anymore. It felt like my brother. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted there to be some glitch, some explanation that didn't involve the guy who'd taught me how to ride a bike also tanking my financial future. So I did what you're supposed to do first. I called the lender on the letter. "Thank you for calling Highland Financial," a too-cheerful voice chirped. "How can I help you today?" I gave her the account number from the letter and said, "I think I'm the victim of identity theft." She put me on hold, then came back. "Okay, Ms. Collins, I'm pulling up your file," she said. "Can you verify your social?" I did. She asked for my date of birth, my address, my mother's maiden name. All of it matched. I felt sicker. "Can you tell me where and when this loan was originated?" I asked. She rattled off the date 3 months ago and said it was done online, via their website. "IP addresses from your hometown area," she added. "We also have a copy of your driver's license on file." "My license?" I said. "What address is on it?" She read off my old address. My parents' house. The one on the file cabinet. "Do you have a phone number on file?" I asked, even though I already knew. She read it off. "My parents' landline with 1 digit off. Jake's current cell." "Is there a way to see the email used?" I asked. She hesitated. "I can't give you the full address for security reasons," she said. "But I can see the domain looks like Gmail, and the first part is J. Collins." My mouth went dry. "Thank you," I said. "So, to confirm, someone used my social, my old ID, my name, and their phone and email to take out this loan, which I never received. That's what it looks like." "Yes," she said carefully. "What do I do to dispute it?" I asked. She explained the process. "File a police report for identity theft, fill out a fraud affidavit from the FTC, send them copies along with proof of my real address and ID." As I hung up, my whole body was buzzing with a mix of anger and dread. Because now it wasn't a vague suspicion. It was practically a paper trail with my brother's initials stamped all over it. I drove to my parents' house that night. Jake's car, a beat-up sedan with 3 different colored doors, was in the driveway. Mom greeted me at the door with a hug. "To what do we owe the pleasure?" she asked. "You look tired. Are you eating? Where's Jake?" I asked. "In the den." "Why?" she said, instantly wary. I didn't answer. I walked straight down the hall. Jake was on the couch with the TV on, controller in hand. A half-empty pizza box sat on the coffee table. He looked up, grinned. "Hey, little sis, what brings you?" I tossed the loan letter onto his lap. The grin slid off his face. "What's this?" he said, even though we both knew. "A loan in my name," I said. "From Highland Financial. And 4 others from different places. All opened from this house, using your phone number and your warehouse job as my employer." He swallowed. "That's crazy," he said. "Must be some mix-up." "Don't insult me," I snapped. "You used my social. You used my ID. You took out almost 20 grand in loans as me." His eyes darted toward the hallway. "The hell I did," he said, louder now. "Why would I? Because your credit is trash and mine isn't," I said. "Because you've never been told no in your life and you figured if anything went wrong, Mom and Dad would smooth it over." He stood up, hands clenched. "Lower your voice," he hissed. "Mom will freak out." "Good," I said. "She needs to hear this." Right on cue, Mom appeared in the doorway. "What's going on?" she demanded. "I can hear you 2 down the street." I turned to her. "Did you know Jake used my identity to open loans?" I asked. "Because I just found out when a collection letter arrived at my apartment." Her face went blank. "What?" she said. Jake jumped in. "She's overreacting," he said quickly. Some scammers must have gotten her info. I'm trying to help her figure it out. I laughed harsh. I said, because Highland Financial says the email on the account starts with J. Collins, and the phone number is yours. They also have a scan of my ID, the one you texted Mom a picture of last year when you lost your wallet. Mom's gaze snapped to Jake. You took a picture of her license? She said. For emergencies, he said. Everyone does that. Your emergencies aren't supposed to involve committing fraud, I said. He glared at me. Mom put a hand to her forehead. Okay, she said. Everybody calm down. Let's talk this through. There's nothing to talk through, I said. This is identity theft. It's a felony. I have to file a police report to clear my name. Her head whipped toward me. Police? She repeated, horrified. You're going to call the police on your own brother? Yes, I said. Unless he pays off every single loan immediately and puts it in writing that he won't touch my information again. Jake scoffed. I don't have that kind of cash lying around, he said. You know that. Then you shouldn't have stolen it, I said. Mom stepped between us. Everybody just breathe, she said. Mia, you don't really want to ruin your brother's life over some numbers on a screen. We can figure this out as a family. It's not just numbers, I said. It's my credit. My ability to get an apartment, a car, maybe a mortgage someday. I've worked my butt off for this. Dad, who'd been in the kitchen, walked in, wiping his hands on a dish towel. What's going on? He asked. Mia thinks I stole her identity, Jake said, sounding wounded. She did steal my identity, I said. Multiple times. Dad held up his hands. Hey, he said. Let's not throw around accusations. I pulled out my phone and showed him the credit report. His face paled as he scrolled. Jake, he said slowly, what is this? I don't know. Jake insisted. Scammers. I showed him the lender's note with the J. Collins email and his phone number. Dad's shoulders sagged. Jesus, Jake, he muttered. Mom's eyes filled with tears. He didn't mean it, she said, already in damage control mode. He was desperate. Those payday people prey on. I'm not a payday lender, I snapped. I'm your daughter. And I'm the one taking the hit. There was a long, heavy silence. Finally, Dad said, Jake, go to your room. Jake stormed off like a sulky teenager instead of a 26-year-old man. Mom turned back to me, eyes pleading. Give us a week, she said. We'll figure out how to handle the loans. Don't go to the police yet. Please. A week, I said. Then I start filing reports. I went home feeling like someone had swapped my bones for ice. A week passed. Nothing happened. No we paid off your loans call. No here's proof everything's fixed email. Just radio silence. Meanwhile, late notices piled up. One lender called me at work. Ms. Collins, your payment is 60 days past due, a stern voice said. If we don't receive at least the minimum by Friday, this will go to collections. My brother opened that account fraudulently, I said for the 100th time. I'm working on a police report. The collector didn't care. That's between you and your brother, she said. The debt is in your name. We will proceed accordingly. That night, I filled out the FTC identity theft form online, printed it, and drove to the police station. The officer at the front desk was kind but tired. Do you know who might have done this? He asked as he took my statement. Yes, I said. My brother. He had access to my social and ID. The phone and email on the accounts are his. He raised an eyebrow. You realize filing this could lead to charges against him, he said. I do, I said, voice shaking. And I realize not filing it could ruin my life. He nodded. Fair enough, he said, and started typing. When I got home, Mom was waiting on my doorstep. You actually did it? She said, eyes wide. You filed a police report? Yes, I said. I gave them the lender info. They'll investigate. I had to, Mom. You're going to send your own brother to jail, she said, voice rising. No, I said. He did that to himself. I'm just refusing to be his shield. She shook her head, tears spilling over. I thought you were better than this, she whispered. You used to be so close. We were close before he stole from me, I said. You're asking me to sacrifice my entire financial future so he can avoid consequences. That's not love, that's enabling. She walked away without another word. Over the next couple months, the investigation crawled along in the background. I sent fraud packets to every lender, copies of my ID, proof of my current address, the police report, the FTC affidavit. Some froze the accounts pending investigation. Others shrugged and sent me to collections anyway. Meanwhile, the police called Jake in for questioning. He told them he had no idea how his sister's info ended up on loans, that maybe someone hacked them both, that he was just as much a victim. The detective wasn't an idiot. He's likely the one who did it, he told me when we spoke on the phone. But unless he confesses or we get digital evidence tying his devices to the applications, it's hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt for criminal charges. So, I asked. We'll keep the report on file, he said. It helps with your disputes. As for him, if the lenders want to pursue civil action once they realize it's fraud, they can. But I can't promise your brother's going to see handcuffs over this. Part of me was relieved. Part of me wanted him to sweat. At home, things were tense. My parents acted like I was a traitor. Jake avoided me completely, which was fine by me. The only time he broke the silence was with one late-night text. "Why are you doing this?" I said I'd pay you back. "You're being dramatic." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I replied, "You didn't borrow my credit. You stole it." Big difference. He didn't respond. I screenshotted the exchange and added it to my evidence folder. I didn't know yet how useful that folder would become. Around this time, Jake suddenly got ambitious. "Your brother has an interview for a management trainee program with Ryder Logistics," Mom announced one Sunday dinner out of nowhere, pride shining in her eyes. 45,000 starting, benefits, the works. I almost choked on my mashed potatoes. "Really?" I said. "Yeah," Jake said, finally deigning to speak directly to me. "A real job. Gonna get my life together. You happy now?" Mom beamed. "This is his chance," she said. "We just need everything to go smoothly." She looked pointedly at me. I knew what she meant. Drop the identity theft thing. Don't rock the boat. Don't ruin his fresh start. I put my fork down. "I'm not sabotaging him," I said. "He already did that himself. All I did was tell the truth." Dad cleared his throat. "Background checks look at criminal history," he said. "You filed a report, but there are no charges. Let's just leave it." I didn't respond. But that night, as I lay in bed, my brain wouldn't shut up. Imagine Jake getting that job. Steady paycheck, sure. Maybe he'd finally pay back the loans. Or maybe he'd have more access to lines of credit. More opportunities to screw me or someone else over. Did I want to be the reason he didn't get a chance to go legit? Or did I want to make sure the company that might entrust him with assets and data knew what they were getting? I wrestled with that question for days. The answer came in the form of an email I wasn't supposed to see. I was at my parents' house again because I am apparently a glutton for emotional punishment when Jake left his laptop open on the dining table. Mom had asked me to fix the Wi-Fi. Our router's ancient, so this is a regular request. While I was waiting for it to restart, a notification pinged on Jake's screen. New email. Interview confirmation, Ryder Logistics. I shouldn't have clicked it. I did anyway. "Dear Jacob Collins," it read. "We look forward to meeting you on Thursday, 10 a.m., at our regional office. Please bring a copy of your resume and be prepared to discuss your experience in detail. A background check, including credit history, may be conducted pending a conditional offer of employment." Credit history. That word pulsed like a neon sign. Attached was a copy of the application he'd submitted. I opened it. Under "Have you ever been convicted of a felony?" He'd checked no. True, for now. Under "Have you ever committed fraud, theft, or financial misconduct in a previous position?" He'd also checked no. Under "Is there anything in your financial history that may adversely affect your performance or our trust in you?" He'd written, "No. I have always managed my finances responsibly and have never defaulted on any debt." I actually laughed out loud at that. "Something funny?" Mom called from the kitchen. I closed the laptop. "Just a meme," I lied. But something inside me crystallized. He was lying again. Not just to me. To strangers. To people who were about to hand him access to company credit cards, trucks full of goods, maybe even people's personal information. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about making sure my silence didn't help him hurt others. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to lie for him. And if that meant crashing his big interview day, so be it. I didn't contact Ryder Logistics' HR department ahead of time. Part of me thought about it, sending a neat little PDF with all my evidence attached. But I knew how that could look. An email from the applicant's bitter sister doesn't scream credibility, even if everything in it is true. They'd probably toss it in the trash or, worse, give him a heads up. If I wanted them to take me seriously, I needed to be a real person, not just text on a screen. And I needed one more thing. Proof that even he knew he was guilty. I scrolled back through our text history and found the one I vaguely remembered. The night I'd sent the invoice, he'd replied. I said I was sorry. I'll fix it, just don't go to the cops. You know I can't have that on my record. I screenshotted it and printed it. Between that, the lender's letters with his phone number, the police report, and my own credit summary, I had a pretty solid packet. On the morning of his interview, I took the day off work, put on business casual clothes, and drove to the address from the email. It was one of those mid-sized corporate buildings. Mirrored windows, too bright landscaping, a lobby that smelled like coffee and carpet cleaner. I checked in with the receptionist. Hi, I'm here to speak with someone from HR, if possible, I said. It's regarding an applicant scheduled for an interview today. It's about a fraud issue that directly involves me. Her eyebrows went up. Do you have an appointment? She asked. No, I said. But it's time sensitive. I brought documentation. I lifted the envelope slightly. She hesitated, then picked up the phone. Hi, this is Amanda at the front desk, she said. I have a family member of an applicant here who says she has urgent information about fraud. Yeah, okay. She hung up. Someone will be down in a few minutes, she told me. You can wait over there. I sat. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. 10 minutes later, a woman in her 30s with a blazer and a no-nonsense expression walked out. Mia Collins? She asked. Yes, I said, standing. I'm Lauren, HR manager, she said. Let's talk in the conference room. We went into a small glass-walled room just off the lobby. She closed the door but left the blinds open. Before we start, she said, I need to be clear. Interviews are confidential. We can't discuss another person's application with you. But you said you had information about fraud? Yes, I said. My brother, Jacob Collins, used my identity to take out multiple loans. There's a police report. I'm still fighting with creditors over it. I know you. Application asked about financial misconduct in credit checks. If you're going to run anything that has my social tied to his name, I want you to know the context. I slid the envelope across the table. She opened it, brows knitting as she flipped through. Police report, FTC affidavit, loan letters, she murmured. And these texts. She read the one where he said, I'll fix it. Just don't go to the cops. Just to confirm, she said, looking up. You are Mia, the identity theft victim listed here? I handed her my license. Yes, I said. And I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to make sure you have the full picture before you put him in a position of trust. She studied me for a second. This is not something we see every day, she said dryly. Most people cover for their relatives. I did, for a long time, I said. That's why he thought he could get away with this. She nodded slowly. Well, she said, thank you for bringing this in person. I can't promise a particular outcome, but we take this kind of thing very seriously. Before I could respond, the receptionist's voice came over the intercom. Lauren, your 10 a.m. is here, she said. My pulse spiked. Lauren glanced at me. Stay here, she said. Please don't engage him directly in the lobby. She left. Of course, I did not stay put. I moved closer to the glass wall, just enough to see the lobby. Jake walked in, all cleaned up. Hair actually combed, beard trimmed, wearing a navy suit I'd never seen before. He looked almost respectable. Almost. He approached the desk. Hi, I'm Jacob Collins. I have a 10 o'clock with Lauren, he said, confidence oozing. Amanda smiled politely and picked up the phone. Lauren came out a moment later, her face neutral. Jacob, she said, shaking his hand. Thanks for coming in. Why don't you follow me to the conference room? They turned toward the hallway. And then Jake saw me through the glass. He stopped dead. Mia, he said, loud enough for half the lobby to hear. What the hell are you doing here? People looked up from their laptops. Lauren's eyes flicked between us. I asked her here, she said calmly. We needed to clarify some information related to your application. He went pale. You… What? He stammered. She's crazy. She's making stuff up because she's mad I used her Netflix or something. This isn't about streaming services, Lauren said coolly. Why don't we all step into the room for a moment? I hadn't expected to be part of the same conversation. But at that point, the train had left the station. We went back into the conference room. Lauren closed the door. Jacob, she said, your sister has provided documentation that she filed a police report for identity theft, naming you as the likely perpetrator. She's also shown us evidence that multiple loans taken out in her name list your contact information. Do you dispute that? He shot me a look that could have melted steel. She's blowing this way out of proportion, he said. I might have used her info once when I was desperate, but I told her I'd pay it back. It's a family thing, doesn't affect anyone else. Lauren raised an eyebrow. So you admit you used her social and ID to obtain credit, she said. He realized too late what he'd just done. I mean, he stuttered. It was a misunderstanding. She gave me permission. No, I didn't, I cut in. Ever, even if she had, Lauren said sharply, lying about whose credit it is on official documents is fraud. And you answered no to the question about any history of financial misconduct. Jake's composure finally cracked. This is insane, he snapped. You're going to believe her over me? She's just mad I got a real job. Lauren's expression went icy. This interview is over, she said. We will not be moving forward with your application. You can't do that, he shouted. You said I said we'd meet with you, she said. We have. Under no circumstances can we hire someone who admits to using another person's identity for loans and then lies about it on an application. He turned on me. You happy now? He yelled. You just cost me my chance at getting back on my feet. The walls were thin. People in the lobby were definitely hearing this. I stood. I didn't cost you anything, I said quietly. You did that when you stole my identity. I just stopped you from doing the same thing somewhere that isn't legally obligated to love you. Security showed up a minute later, called by a very flustered Amanda. They escorted Jake out of the building. He kept shouting back over his shoulder. This isn't over, Mia. You're dead to me. You hear me? Dead. I sat back down, hands trembling. Lauren exhaled. I'm sorry you had to go through that, she said. And for what it's worth, you did the right thing. I nodded, eyes stinging. It didn't feel right. It felt like ripping off my own limb. But it also felt necessary. My parents were furious. How could you humiliate your brother like that? Mom cried when she found out. At his job interview? He humiliated himself, I said. I just showed them the truth. You're supposed to protect your family, she said. I did, I replied. I protected the family he hasn't stolen from yet. Dad didn't say much. But a few days later, he called me privately. He's been served with civil papers from one of the lenders, he said. They're suing for the full amount. The police report helped them connect the dots. I'm sorry, I said. I know this is hard on you and Mom. He sighed. It's hard, he said. But it was always going to be hard. We just kept postponing it. You forced it to happen. Do you hate me for that? I asked. He was quiet for a moment. No, he said finally. I think I'm proud of you. I wish we'd been as firm with him years ago. Those words untied a knot in my chest I didn't know had been there. Mom didn't come around so easily. For months, she treated me like a stranger at best, a traitor at worst. Thanksgiving was awkward. Jake didn't show up. He's couch surfing with friends, Dad told me later. He's angry at everyone. But he's also, finally scared. Good, I thought, then felt guilty. The identity theft mess took a long time to clean up. Some lenders accepted the fraud reports and wrote the accounts off. Others dragged their feet, requiring endless documentation. My credit score tanked for a while. But slowly, painfully, it started to climb back up. I met with a credit counselor. I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus so no one including Jake could open anything new in my name without extra verification. I learned more about consumer law than I ever wanted to. It wasn't fun, but it was empowering. I was taking control back, one phone call and certified letter at a time. About a year after the interview incident, I got a letter from one of the bigger lenders. Based on the information you provided, "We have concluded that the account was opened fraudulently," it said. "We have removed it from your credit file." I sat on my couch and cried. Not because everything was magically fixed, but because for once, someone believed me without making it my fault. As for Jake, consequences finally started to catch up. One lender got a civil judgment against him. Another reported him to a database that banks use to flag high-risk customers. He found out the hard way when he tried to open a checking account and got denied. He texted me, of course. "Hope you're happy. You ruined my life." I stared at the message for a minute. Then I replied, "You did that. I just stopped you from ruining mine too." He didn't answer. We haven't really spoken since. Mom still tries to guilt-trip me sometimes. "Your brother's having a hard time," she'll say. "He can't get a good job with that judgment on his record." "He should have thought of that before committing fraud," I say. "Maybe he'll tell the truth on the next application." She huffs and changes the subject. "Dad and I talk more now than we did when I was a kid. He asks about my classes, my job, my terrible apartment's leaky ceiling. He never says it outright, but I can tell he's slowly realizing that being a good parent doesn't mean protecting the child who screams the loudest. Sometimes it means standing up for the quiet one who keeps getting used." Do I regret crashing his interview? Sometimes, late at night, when I remember the look on his face as security walked him out, a pang of guilt hits me. He's still my brother. We used to play video games together. He taught me how to sneak cookies from the jar without making noise. He held my hand when we got lost in a supermarket once. But then I remember the letters with my name on them and his debts. The hours I spent on the phone convincing strangers I wasn't the liar. The way he tried to gaslight me, to make me feel crazy for wanting my own identity back. And I think, if he was willing to do that to me, what would he do to a company with way more resources and much less emotional leverage? He didn't deserve that job, not with the lies he told to get it. Maybe, in some twisted way, I did him a favor. Because here's the thing, consequences are how people learn. For years, my parents shielded him from those consequences in the name of family. All that did was teach him that other people's lives and credit scores were disposable tools. The day I walked into that lobby with my envelope of truth, I finally broke the pattern. Not just for me, but for anyone else he might have hurt next. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Your social security number is not a family resource. Your credit is not a shared asset. And forgiving someone doesn't have to mean letting them keep access to the things that can destroy your future. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do for your family, is to be the first one who says, "This is wrong," and refuses to play along. Even if it means watching your brother's dream job disappear through a glass conference room door. Because I'd rather live with that guilt than spend the rest of my life paying for loans I never took.